All right. Section 6, Chapter 1. Learning target for today is absolute value and of equations and inequalities. Absolute value equations and inequalities. Okay. Absolute value. Do we know what an absolute value is? If I take the absolute value of -3, what is that, Reese? The absolute value of -3 is what? 3. Makes everything positive, right? If I was to say the absolute value of -3 plus 1, what would that be? 2. -3 plus 1 is absolute value of -2, right? Absolute value of -2 is 2. So we know what absolute values are. Let me show you something real quick, and I think this is going to be helpful too. Adding and subtracting real numbers. I'm going to go over this real fast. If I take 4 plus 2, what is that, Fletcher? 6, right? If I take -4 minus 2, what's that? -4 minus 2. So I'm going, starting at 4, and I'm going back 2 more. -6, right? What are the similarities here? This is a +4, a +2. Added together, you get 6. This is a -4 and -2. Let's add them together and give it the sign of what's in there. So when we have 2 negatives, we can add them together, make them 6, and just put the sign what's there, right? Same thing with the pluses. We got add them together and we give the sign of what's in here. This is actually a +6. So if I was going to say -5, let's do, -5 minus 3 would be what? -8. See how that works? Now, when the signs are different, when you have different signs, I have 4 minus 6. Well, if I did 6 minus 4, what would it be? 2, right? What did I do? I subtracted them and I gave it the sign of the larger number. So if I go 4 minus 6, what is it? -2, right? The difference here is 2, but now my larger number has a negative, so I'm putting a negative in front of it. That's how we work with adding and subtracting numbers. If I go -4 plus 6, what's that one? Katie? Two signs, 2 different signs. Reese? 2 different signs. What do we do when we have 2 different signs? Subtract them, right? And then take the larger of a 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. Larger one is 2, so it's a +2. All right? Quick way to work with real numbers. If you can understand that, the rest of this becomes kind of easy. All right. So we know what an absolute value is. All right. We're putting an absolute value to inequalities now. If you notice in here, let me make this bigger. Okay. We've taken the absolute values and we put them to inequalities. It works the same way as the other inequalities, but now this absolute value is going to make everything positive. All right? Let me jump in. I don't think there's anything else I really want to go through on this. I want to jump into the next section, or the other sheet. Come back up. Nope. Nope. All right. So what do we do in this case here? If I wanted to find out what my x is in this case here, yes?
You would turn the 3x into a +3x and then you divide x equals 6.
X equals 6. Can X equal negative 6? Yeah. So X in this case actually equals a plus or minus 6. Because I can use either one of it, it's going to make it a positive 18, right? How would we figure that out? Well, this is what we do. We set this up as negative 3x equals 18 and positive 3x equals 18, and we solve both of them. All right? Because either one is going to work in there, right? So if I take my negative 3, this here, x is going to equal negative 6. If I go this way, x is going to equal a positive 6. X equals a plus or minus 6. That's the way we're going to figure this out. Let's take a look. That was an easier one. Let's take a look at one that's maybe a little bit more difficult to look at. What about t plus 5? Remember what I told you. If I have minus 6 minus 4, it's a minus 10. If I have 6 plus 4, it's a 10, right? The signs change it. Take a look at this. I'm going to set this to t plus 5 equals 8. And I'm going to take it and put a negative out in front of this. Equals 8. Plus and minus. So this really comes out to what? Minus t minus 5 equals 8. Kind of see the similarities here in what we're doing? So this one here, t would equal 3. And in this one here, t would equal negative 3. Bring my negative 5 over. Well, actually, I'm sorry. This would be 13. Negative 13. This when we bring, what's that? Oh, this? Number 2? What are you talking about? No, I did this one right here. Yeah, I'm on that one right there. So if I set this up like this, I've got a negative 5 here, right? I bring it over, it's going to be positive. So negative t equals 13. And I bring my sign over, t equals a negative 13. So my answer for number 3 here is actually t equals 3 and t equals negative 13. Can we figure that out? Put it in for here. If I put 3 in here, it would be 3 plus 5, right? That equals 8. If I put a negative 13 in here, negative 13 plus 5 equals a negative 8, but since we're doing the absolute value of these, it equals 8. Let's do another one like this.
You have to find both of them.
You have to do it both ways. Let's take a look at this one right here. Actually, yeah, we'll do this one right here. Now let's do 5. Let's do 5 here, okay? First way we do it, 2x minus 1 equals 5. The second way we do it, we put a minus out and a parentheses around that 2x minus 1 equals 5. We have to do it both ways. So the first way, we bring the 1 over, it becomes 4. 2x equals 4, x equals 2. Right? We do it the other way. We bring this through and we have a minus 2x plus 1 equals 5. Now we can subtract 1 from this side. I went backwards here. Hold on. This is 6. This is 3. I made a mistake. When I bring this over, we're going to add that to it. In this case here, it's minus 2x equals 4. X equals minus 2. So your two answers for this are minus 2 and 3. See how we have to separate them out? Let's take a look at number 6 right here once. Everybody got that? All right. Take a look at number 6 right here. What's the first thing you would do on that, Reese? What do you think first thing you would do on that? Get rid of that 5. It's outside of the absolute value, right? Yeah, I'd bring that 5 over right away. So I'd make this absolute value of 4 minus 2y equals, and I bring it over, this is 4. And then I'd work on it from there. This one here, what's the first thing I'd do here? Get rid of that 3. Divide both sides by 3. And I'd work with z plus 7 equals 4 and work with it like that. All right? You guys can do that? Any questions on this? All right. Let's take a look at the assignment here. There's 2 on the first one. What's on the second one? 4. See what they look like. Okay, what they're doing here, in this portion here, on the bottom, I broke it out into 2 different equations. They actually have taken the one thing. So they've taken, let's say, let me do this one here. X over 2 minus 4. This was the absolute value on it. Okay? And what they said is, and what they're doing here, and this is something I didn't show you, what they've done is they broke this out, and they said here it was, what, 11's over here. Now, I don't know if one's greater than, oh, they're giving this, well, actually, let's not do that one. I'm combining 2 of them here. This is less than or equal to 3. So what they did is they said, I'm going to put this one in the middle, x over 2 minus 4. I'm putting 3 on one side, and I'm putting negative 3 on the other side. What did they do? They took away the absolute value, and they said this is either going to be negative or positive. Bless you. All right? Now we have to figure out from here, this goes like this. My values go in there like this. So we have to figure this out from here. If we're going to go this direction and solve, then I'd bring my 4 over, right? Bring it over here, and then this would become a positive 1 over here, less than or equal to x over 2. And then I bring my 4 over here. This becomes a positive. This becomes 7 on that side. Next thing I'd do is I'd multiply everything by 2, right? Multiply this side by 2. Multiply this by 2, the 1/2 goes away on it. And we multiply this side by 2, and that would be 14. That would be your answer for this one here. So what they're saying in here is this should be a 2, this should be a 14. All right? That's what they want you to do for each one of these. Actually, for each step down here. Actually, I did it for you. You guys don't have to do it. This is 2 and 14. They're just doing each step. This is going to be a negative 3. This is going to be a 3. I did the step here when we brought the 4 over. It became what? 1 and 7. I did it for you. 3? That's 3. I did that one. Okay. Keep that in your stuff. Do it. Get the other page done. Looks like you have one problem. Two problems? You go ahead.